Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when what God placed in you seems too heavy to carry, too delayed to hope for, and too distant to believe in. You look at the dream you once had with fire in your eyes, and now it feels cold. The vision that once gave you strength now feels like a burden. I came to remind somebody today, don't bury your dream. You might have cried over it. You might have failed at it. You might have watched people walk away from you while you were still holding on to something they called foolish. But if it came from God, it still has life in it. The dream may look dead, but it's not buried. It's only planted. And anything planted in faith has resurrection power. Some of you thought your dream was over, but you didn't bury it. You planted it. You buried it in tears, but it's going to rise in triumph. You buried it in confusion, but it's coming back in clarity. You buried it in loss, but it's going to rise in abundance. Don't walk away from what God is still working on. See, your dream may go through a dark season. Every seed does. Seeds don't grow in the light, they grow underground. God hides it, not to kill it, but to protect it. That's why it feels like nothing's happening. That's why you feel forgotten. That's why you're wondering if you missed your moment. But God says, hold on, I'm not done yet. You don't need everyone to believe in your dream. You don't need everyone to see what God showed you. Stop explaining your vision to people who can't see beyond the dirt. Some people will walk by your seed and say, it's gone. But God will whisper to you, it's growing. Some of the greatest miracles God performs are hidden in seasons of silence. Just because you don't see the dream moving doesn't mean it's dead. In fact, the deepest roots are formed in the unseen places. God is strengthening what He promised. He's preparing you for what you prayed for. If you bury your dream, you stop expecting. If you bury your dream, you stop believing. If you bury your dream, you stop becoming. But if you dare to keep it alive, to keep believing, to keep speaking, to keep hoping, you'll see that dream come to pass, because faith doesn't just believe in what is seen. Faith believes in what God said, even when nothing looks like it's working. It's not too late. You're not too old. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. What God started in you, He will complete. The dream still speaks. The vision still lives. The promise still stands. There are moments in life when you look at the vision God gave you and wonder if it has any life left in it. You remember the days when your heart burned with passion, when your prayers were bold and your faith was unshakable. You remember how you used to talk about your dream with excitement, how you believed the world would see something great come through you. But time passed, people left, opportunities faded, and what once burned bright now feels like ashes in your hands. The dream seems gone. You buried it under disappointment, buried it under fear, buried it under the weight of life. But here, a buried dream isn't a dead dream. There's a divine mystery in how God works with those He's chosen. Sometimes He allows your dream to be hidden, not to destroy it, but to develop it. When a seed is planted, it disappears from view. It's pressed into the dirt, covered in darkness, surrounded by silence. From the outside, it looks like nothing's happening, but beneath the soil, something sacred is taking place. The seed is dying to itself so it can live again in a greater form. The outer shell breaks so that new life can emerge. And so it is with your dream. It's not dead, it's being transformed. You thought it was over because you couldn't see progress. But God doesn't always work where eyes can see. His greatest miracles often start underground. You prayed, you worked, you believed, and then everything went quiet. You thought God forgot. But that silence wasn't abandonment. It was incubation. The soil of obscurity is where God grows destiny. When He hides you, He's not rejecting you. He's protecting what He planted in you. The dream you buried didn't die. It was only being positioned for a resurrection. If every seed stayed on the surface, it would never become what it was created to be. Seeds must go down before they rise up. Dreams must be buried before they bloom. Sometimes God has to let your vision fall into the ground so it can come up with more power than before. The waiting, the delay, pain, it's all part of the divine process. Don't curse the dirt that's covering your dream. The dirt is necessary for the growth. Some of you have cried over dreams that felt lost. You've said, Maybe I missed my chance. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. But that's the enemy talking. The enemy wants you to mistake burial for death. He wants you to walk away from what God is still working on. He wants you to believe that silence means God said no. But God's not yet, is not a never. You may have buried your dream in tears, but it will rise in testimony. You may have buried it in heartbreak. It will rise in healing. You may have buried it in loss, but it will rise in abundance. You can't judge a seed by the season it's in. When you look at the dirt, it doesn't look like anything's happening. But underground, the seed is expanding, stretching, and cracking open. Growth begins with breaking. God will let your dream go through breaking so that it can burst forth stronger, deeper, and truer than before. You think it's dying, but it's maturing. You think it's buried, but it's blooming. And while you wait, God is working on you too. Sometimes the dream isn't ready because the dreamer isn't ready. You might have the vision, but not yet the character to carry it. You might have the calling, not yet the endurance to sustain it. So God allows a burial season to shape you in secret. You may be in the dirt, but that's where roots grow. If your roots are deep enough, no storm will be able to uproot what God is raising up through you. When Joseph was thrown into a pit, it looked like his dream was buried. When he was sold into slavery, it looked like his dream was dead. When he was locked in prison, it looked like his dream was gone forever. But all those dark places were not tombs. They were tunnels leading him to destiny. The pit, the prison, pain, they were soil. And the soil that covers you today is the same soil that will nourish your future. So don't be afraid of the dirt. Don't be afraid of being hidden. Don't be afraid when no one claps for you, when no one believes in you, when it feels like life moved on without you. You're not behind, you're being prepared. You're not forgotten, you're being fortified. God hides his best work before he reveals it. He buries the seed before he brings the harvest. You might be in a place where the dream looks impossible now. Maybe you once dreamed of starting a business, writing a book, building a family, changing lives, serving God in a big way, and now all you see are reasons why it can't happen. But if God gave it to you, he never took it back. His gifts and callings are without repentance. The dream is still alive. It's just in process. Looks dead to you, is still breathing in the spirit. Don't give up on it. Go back and look at what you buried. Go back to that place of faith. Go back to that idea that once made your heart race. Go back to that promise you stopped praying about because you got tired of waiting. Dig it back up. Speak life over it again. Say, it's not dead, it's planted. Because faith doesn't see with natural eyes. Faith sees through the soil. Faith believes in what's under the surface. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself in the dirt. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, I might be in a buried place, but I'm still growing. You've got to worship while you're waiting. You've got to praise while you're planted. You've got to trust that the same God who allowed the burial will also command the breakthrough. Because there comes a moment when the season shifts. There comes a moment when the buried becomes visible, when the hidden becomes revealed, when the planted pushes through the surface. Suddenly, no one believed could happen begins to blossom. The same people who thought your dream was dead will watch it rise in front of them. The same ones who walked away will see you standing strong, bearing fruit, giving glory to the God who kept his promise. So hold on. Don't bury your hope. Don't bury your expectation. Don't bury your faith. The dream still lives. God is not finished. What he started in you, he intends to complete. The soil of your struggle is the ground of your greatness. You may feel buried, but you're not gone. You may feel pressed down, but you're not destroyed. You may feel forgotten, but you're right where God needs you to be. There comes a time in every dreamer's journey when life goes silent. You pray, there's no answer. You move forward and doors close. You do your best to be faithful, but nothing seems to happen. You look around and see others being promoted, elevated, and celebrated while you are sitting in the shadows waiting for something, anything, to move. Quiet, heavy space. It's easy to assume you've done something wrong. It's easy to think God is punishing you. But he's not. You're not forgotten. You're not forsaken. You're simply in your hidden season. And that season is preparation, not punishment. God hides you to prepare you. He conceals before he reveals. He takes his time building you in private so that when he brings you into the public, you'll be ready to carry the weight of what he promised. There are things you ask God for that require a stronger version of you to handle them. So before he delivers the dream, he develops the dreamer. Before he opens the door, he strengthens your hands. Before he puts you in the spotlight, he teaches you how to stand in the shadows without losing faith. The hidden season is sacred. It's where the roots of destiny go deep. It's where your faith is purified, where your motives are tested, and where your character is shaped. You might not like it, but it's necessary. God is not punishing you. He's protecting you from premature exposure. He knows that premature success can destroy what patience could prepare. If you arrive too early, you won't have the strength to stay there. So he hides you not to humiliate you, but to cultivate you. When God hides you, it's not rejection, it's refinement. Think about David, the shepherd boy who was anointed to be king. After being anointed, he didn't go straight to the throne. He went back to the field, back to tending sheep, back to the quiet places, back to the routine that didn't look like royalty. But it was there in the hiddenness that he learned to worship, to lead, to fight lions and bears. It was there that he developed the heart of a king before he ever wore a crown. His hidden season wasn't punishment for being unready. It was preparation so he could be ready. There are lessons you can only learn in obscurity. The hidden place is where you learn to depend on God when there's no applause, no validation, no recognition. It's where you learn to trust his voice when no one else believes in what he told you. I challenge you enough. It's where you learn to be faithful with little before you're trusted with much. God uses hidden seasons to strip away everything that could sabotage your purpose later. He prunes your pride. He humbles your heart. He teaches you that your worth is not in your visibility, but in your obedience. Sometimes we think visibility equals value. We think if people don't see us, we don't matter. But God's process is the opposite. He often works most powerfully in secret. The womb is hidden, but it's where life grows. The soil is hidden, but it's where the seed becomes strong. The night is dark, but it's where the stars shine the brightest. Don't despise being unseen. Your unseen season is sacred ground. When Joseph was thrown into prison, he didn't know he was in preparation. To him, it probably felt like punishment. He was forgotten by the very people he helped. He was surrounded by walls that told him his dream was over. But God was developing him in that darkness. The hidden season taught Joseph how to manage what would later be entrusted to him: authority, responsibility, and wisdom. Had he gone straight from the pit to the palace, he wouldn't have had the maturity to handle the weight of leadership. The hidden place shaped him into a vessel fit for destiny. The hidden season is where your faith either fractures or flourishes. It's where you decide whether you trust God's hand, even when you can't see his plan. It's where you learn to rest in his timing instead of resenting his delay. God's delay is not denial. It's divine preparation. The silence of God doesn't mean he's not speaking. It means he's working behind the scenes. What he's preparing you for requires isolation, concentration, consecration. He's removing distractions so he can refine your focus. There's a reason diamonds are formed under pressure and gold is purified by fire. The process that refines is never comfortable, but it's always purposeful. So when you feel like you're in a season of hiddenness, understand this: you're not being punished, you're being processed. The process is painful, yes, but it's producing something in you that comfort never could. It's building patience. It's deepening your faith. It's teaching you to praise even when you don't see progress. You might be in a hidden season where nothing seems to move. The career isn't growing, the relationships aren't working, the dreams aren't unfolding. But God is still in control. He's hiding you because the timing isn't right yet. If he revealed you now, the stage might be ready, but the audience wouldn't understand. The opportunity might exist, but your strength to sustain it hasn't been fully built. Doesn't just want you to start strong. He wants you to stay strong, and staying strong requires deep preparation. The longer the preparation, the greater the purpose. When a house is meant to be tall, the foundation must be deep. The deeper the foundation, the stronger the structure. The same is true with your life. The longer you spend in preparation, the more enduring your impact will be. God is digging deep in you because He intends to build something lasting through you. Sometimes the hidden season will feel lonely. You'll wonder where everybody went. You'll wonder why no one calls, why support disappeared, why doors are closing instead of opening. Solitude isn't isolation, it's invitation. God calls you away from noise so you can hear His whisper. He calls you into the wilderness so you can find His presence. Hidden seasons are invitations to intimacy with God. When no one else sees you, He does. No one else understands, He does. And in that secret place, He's teaching you how to walk by faith, not by sight. When the time is right, God will reveal what He's been refining. You won't have to force it or fight for it. You won't have to manipulate doors or chase opportunities. What is yours will recognize you. The right moment will meet the right person, and everything that once made no sense will come together perfectly. You'll see why you had to wait. You'll see why He had to hide you. You'll see that it wasn't punishment at all. It was protection. It was preparation. Because when God finally reveals you, you won't just be ready for the blessing. You'll be equipped to keep it. You'll be able to stand under the weight of glory without collapsing. You'll carry the dream with maturity, humility, and strength. That's what hidden seasons produce, not punishment, but power. So don't resent the quiet places. Don't despise the hidden moments. God is shaping you in silence for the destiny He will soon announce in light. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and thank Him for every closed door, every lonely night, and every delayed promise, because all of it was working together to prepare you for the fullness of His plan. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Hidden seasons are holy seasons. They are the whims of greatness. And when the time is right, what God has been forming in secret will be revealed for His glory. So be still, stay faithful, trust the process, because your hidden season is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. There are moments in life when the promise feels distant and the waiting feels endless. You start with excitement, believing that what God showed you will happen soon. You speak it, pray it, and prepare for it. But then time passes. The excitement fades. What was once clear now feels uncertain. You look around and see others moving ahead, dreams unfolding for them, while yours remains still. You start to ask questions. Did I hear God right? Did I miss my moment? Did I make a mistake? You begin to confuse delay with denial. They are not the same. A delay is not a death sentence. It's divine timing at work. Don't let delay define your destiny. When God gives you a vision, He doesn't always hand you the timing. He'll show you the destination, but rarely reveal the journey in detail. He tells Abraham, I will make you the father of many nations, but He doesn't mention that it will take 25 years for the promise to come to pass. He tells Joseph, you will rule, but He doesn't mention the pit, the prison, or the betrayal. He tells David, you are anointed king. But He doesn't mention the years of hiding from Saul. God gives the promise first because faith needs something to hold on to when time begins to test you. The delay is not meant to destroy your faith, it's meant to deepen it. Every great dream will be tested by time. Every promise will pass through a period of waiting. The delay between what God said and what you see is where you are forged, refined, and strengthened. You may not like the waiting, but it's in the waiting that God builds your capacity to carry the blessing. If He gave it to you too soon, it would crush you. So He holds it until you're ready, and in the meantime, He molds you into the person who can handle what He promised. Sometimes delay feels like silence, and silence can be painful. You pray and hear nothing. You move and doors close. You give your best, but results don't show. It's tempting to think God has forgotten you, but He hasn't. The silence is not absence, it's strategy. God is aligning things you cannot see, preparing people you haven't met, and orchestrating events that haven't yet unfolded. The delay isn't a denial of destiny, it's the preparation of it. There are things that take time to grow. You can't plant a seed today and expect a harvest tomorrow. The process between planting and harvesting is called delay. That's where your patience is tested. That's where your faith is purified. That's where you learn to trust the God of the process as much as the God of the promise. The soil doesn't show signs of life for a while. The seed is growing beneath the surface. Likewise, your dream may not look alive right now. That doesn't mean it's dead. It means God is working where eyes can't see. Delay doesn't mean defeat. Many people give up too soon because they mistake waiting for wasting. But waiting on God is never wasted time. It's preparation time. It's the season where He teaches you endurance, disciplines your spirit, and shapes your attitude. It's where He transforms impatience into maturity. Waiting seasons are not idle seasons. They are growth seasons disguised as stillness. You may feel like nothing is happening, but something is happening in you. You can't let the calendar control your confidence. God doesn't move according to your clock. He moves according to His purpose. You may have expected it last year, but He's not late, He's precise. He's not slow, He's strategic. What you call delay, God calls development. What you see as being stuck, God sees as being prepared. If He gave it to you before you were ready, the blessing would turn into a burden. So He waits until your heart, your character, and your environment align with the magnitude of His plan. When you look at the stories of the faithful, you'll see a pattern. God often fulfills His promises after long seasons of delay. Noah waited decades for rain. Moses waited 40 years in the desert. Waited years for her child. Jesus waited 30 years before beginning His ministry. Delay has always been part of destiny because destiny requires depth. Depth takes time. We live in a world that loves speed, instant success, instant recognition, instant reward. But God's kingdom works by process, not by shortcuts. In the delay, God reveals who you really are. Anyone can believe when things are happening fast. Faith that lasts is faith that endures when nothing moves. Will you still trust Him when the promise seems postponed? Will you still worship when doors remain closed? Will you still give your best when you don't see progress? Sometimes the real miracle is not that the dream comes true. It's that your heart stays faithful while you wait. You can't measure your destiny by someone else's timeline. Comparison will only breed frustration. Your path is yours. Your delay is custom designed for your preparation. What's quick for someone else might crush you if you tried to copy it. Don't envy someone else's harvest when you haven't seen what kind of soil they've endured. You don't know what they've planted or what they've survived. Stay faithful in your lane and trust that your season will come. God is never late. He's rarely early. He waits until everything is positioned, until your spirit is steady, until your motives are pure, until the people around you are aligned. You may be ready for the blessing, but the blessing might not be ready for you. So He waits. And in that waiting, He teaches you to lean not on your own understanding. He teaches you that His ways are higher, His timing wiser, and His plan greater than anything you could imagine. When you're in delay, it's easy to let frustration become your language. You have to guard your words because what you speak in delay can affect what you see in destiny. Don't speak defeat while waiting for deliverance. Don't declare failure over what God is still forming. Keep your language aligned with your promise. Keep saying, it will come to pass. Keep saying, God is faithful. Keep saying, this waiting is working for my good. Because every word you speak is a seed. What you plant in delay will grow in destiny. There will come a moment, a divine suddenly, when everything changes. The door that's been locked for years will open without effort. The people who forgot you will remember your name. The opportunities that once seemed impossible will appear overnight. And when it happens, you'll realize it was never delayed. It was divinely timed. You'll see how every no led you to the right yes, how every waiting season prepared you for the right moment. The pain will make sense. The process will be worth it. So don't let the delay define you. Don't let it make you bitter. Don't let it make you doubt your worth or your calling. Keep walking, keep believing, keep building even when it feels like nothing's moving. God is working behind the curtain of time. aligning your destiny with His design. The delay is not a punishment. It's proof that the dream is too important to rush. When the time is right, same God who seemed silent will speak loudly through your breakthrough. The same God who seemed distant will show how close He's been all along. The dream will come to life, the promise will be fulfilled, and the waiting will make sense. You'll see that delay didn't destroy you, it developed you. Every dream that comes from God will be tested, not just by time, not just by circumstances, but by people. There will always be voices around you that question, criticize, and try to convince you that what you carry is impossible. The moment you start to rise, opposition will rise with you. But hear this truth, not everyone can see what God has shown you. Not everyone can understand the vision that was whispered into your spirit. That's why one of the greatest responsibilities of a dreamer is learning how to protect the dream, especially from doubters. There are people who will try to talk you out of your destiny, not because they are evil, but because they can't comprehend it. Your dream is too big for their frame of reference. They measure possibility by logic. Dreams that come from God don't fit into logic. They fit into faith. If you try to explain divine vision to human understanding, you'll always be misunderstood. You cannot expect people who live in fear to understand those who live by faith. Some will call you unrealistic, others will call you foolish, but don't be discouraged. It's not their job to see what you see. It's yours to believe it until it manifests. When Joseph shared his dream with his brothers, they didn't celebrate, they resented him. They didn't see the greatness God placed inside him. They saw a threat to their comfort. His mistake wasn't in having the dream. It was in sharing it with the wrong people. Sometimes you have to learn that your dream is sacred, and sacred things should not be exposed to careless hands. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Some people are sent to support you, but others are sent to test your strength. You must have the wisdom to know who's who. Enemy often uses doubt disguised as our advice. People will say, I'm just trying to be realistic, or maybe it's not the right time, or are you sure this is for you? They'll plant seeds of fear in your heart if you let them. If God planted a dream in you, don't let man uproot it. Protect your dream by guarding your heart and filtering what you allow into your spirit. You cannot nurture faith while feeding on fear. If you constantly listen to doubters, you'll start to doubt yourself. The dream God gave you wasn't a conference call. It wasn't a group discussion. It was a divine revelation between you and Him. Some people can't handle what God told you because it's not meant for them to carry. That's why discernment is crucial. You can't tell everyone everything. There are seasons when silence is your protection. Some dreams must be incubated in private before they can be revealed in public. What's growing in you is fragile right now. Don't expose it to the cold winds of criticism too soon. The story of Nehemiah reminds us of the power of focus in the face of opposition. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, doubters and enemies surrounded him, they mocked him, they tried to distract him, and they even plotted to destroy him. Nehemiah refused to come down from the wall. He said, I'm doing a great work and I cannot come down. That's the attitude of a dream protector. You must reach a point where you say, I can't come down to argue. I can't come down to explain. I can't come down to prove anything. I'm too focused on building. Doubt is contagious. Spend too much time around small minds and your faith will shrink to fit their limitations. You have to be careful who you let speak into your life. Some people sound wise, but speak from woundedness. Others sound experienced, but speak from failure, not faith. Protect your ears from words that weaken your confidence in what God said. Protect your environment from negativity that clouds your vision. Protect your spirit from those who want you to play small so they can feel comfortable. When you carry something great, you'll attract both believers and doubters. Believers will feed your faith. Doubters will drain it. Learn to identify who does which. A true believer doesn't need to understand every detail. They just stand beside you and say, I believe God will do it. Those are the voices you keep close. But the ones who constantly question, discourage, belittle what you're carrying, you love them, but you create distance. Protecting your dream doesn't mean you're arrogant. It means you're wise enough to guard what's still developing. There will be seasons when you have to walk alone because no one around you can see the vision yet. Don't confuse loneliness with being lost. Sometimes isolation is divine insulation. God will pull you away from certain people not to punish you, to protect the purity of your dream. He knows if you stay around certain voices too long, you'll start to believe their limitations. He hides you while he builds your confidence in him. In that solitude, you learn to hear his voice above all others. You learn to be content with his approval, even when others don't understand. Every dream requires protection during its early stages, just as a mother guards her newborn. You must guard what's being birthed inside you. When a baby is born, you don't expose it to the world immediately. You keep it safe until it's strong enough to survive outside. Likewise, your dream needs time to grow roots before it faces the world's resistance. There are seasons when you'll need to nurture it quietly, feed it with prayer, cover it with faith, and let God strengthen it away from public opinion. Don't expect doubters to understand divine timing. Some will say, if it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to happen. But delay is not defeat. When others stop believing, you must keep believing. You are responsible for the dream, not them. You can't let their fear dictate your faith. Remember, people said Noah was crazy until the rain came. People doubted Moses until the sea parted. People mocked Jesus until the stone rolled away. What they don't understand now, they'll witness later. Sometimes the greatest way to protect your dream is through consistent action. Keep building when they criticize. Keep praying when they doubt. Keep believing when they laugh. Let your results speak for you. When God begins to fulfill the vision, even your doubters will have to admit the hand of the Lord was on them. So don't waste your energy defending what God will prove. You don't have to justify your calling. Just walk in it. Protecting your dream doesn't mean shutting out everyone. It means surrounding yourself with the right people. Find those who remind you of who you are when you forget. Find those who push you to keep believing when your faith gets weary. Find those who speak life when everything around you feels dead. You don't need a crowd. You need covenant relationships. People who pray for you in private are more powerful than people who cheer for you in public. Every doubter is part of your development. Their disbelief pushes you deeper into dependence on God. Their criticism forces you to clarify your conviction. Their opposition strengthens your obedience. What they meant for harm, God will use for your good. So don't get bitter. Get stronger. Let their doubt drive you closer to the one who gave you the dream in the first place. So hold your dream close. Guard it like treasure. Nurture it in prayer. Feed it with faith. And when the time comes, God himself will bring it into the light. The same people who doubted you will witness what they couldn't believe. The dream will speak for itself. and your perseverance will prove that every moment of protection was worth it. Don't let the doubters define your destiny. Let your faith do that. The dream you carry is divine. Protect it, guard it, believe in it, and watch God make it a reality in his perfect time.